Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2022-23 season. My name is Dan and Game Week 33 is just around the corner. We've got a Tuesday deadline, so we need to get cracking on some content. And I thought I'd start off this game week with building what I believe to be the perfect team for the remainder of the season. So whether you're on a wildcard or you're looking to progress your own team towards something that is perfect for this final run-in, hopefully I've got you covered today. So if you do enjoy this one, please do drop a like, do subscribe if you're new around here. Without further ado, guys, let's get cracking. So this is the finalized FPL calendar for the remaining game weeks, game week 33 to 38. We have finally got all of the final double game weeks confirmed. So what you see on screen is the remainder of this season. We've got it locked in now. That's really, really good news, and we can plan perfectly from this position. We've got no blank game weeks to worry about anymore, and as you can see, guys, Brighton, Fulham, Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Newcastle and West Ham all have double game weeks to come with no blank, so we can really, really focus on some of these teams. Brighton in particular, 3 double game weeks out of their 6 remaining game weeks, so a double game week every other week for them. In fact, if you just go between the game weeks 34 and 37, that's 3 doubles in 4. If you add the Nottingham Forest game in 33, you can basically see, guys, that Brighton players are just going to be essential. It's going to be really important that you have that triple up. We have got a couple other teams that are worth noting, I guess. Liverpool obviously been in pretty good attacking form. They've got a double game week in 34. Man City with 2 double game weeks left as well. So we do want to be going in on a couple of hopefully nailed on Man City assets. And Manchester United definitely need to come back into the conversation as they play Aston Villa and Brighton in 34. Really quite a fairly decent double there. And not so bad double in 37 either with Bournemouth and an out of form Chelsea team there as well. But one more thing with Manchester United is they play Spurs next, and if any of you guys watched the Spurs game against Newcastle today, or you know, some of their other games recently, you will know that maybe it is a good time to jump on any team who is playing against Spurs. So that is the lay of the land, guys. As you can see, we have got a real clear idea of what kind of players we want to be targeting. Let's build a team that I think will be perfect to do this final period and take advantage of everything that we got left. Alright, so this team costs 101.3 million, but I am going to suggest some alternatives later on in the video, just in case we need to increase the budget or decrease the budget, depending on where you guys kind of sit. But I'm going to show you what I feel like is the team that I want to kind of move my own team towards for the rest of the season, and this is definitely what I would be going for if I was wildcarding right now as well. So, first of all, in goal, I have gone for Ederson, which I know is against Arsenal, which is a bit of a tough fixture, but I feel like if you're going to go for a Man City defender with all of the rotation we're seeing at the moment in Man City, you know, in other competitions as well, there's going to be other priorities for Manchester City. We do want to try and lock down a nailed on kind of defender, and since there is no defender who's nailed on, the goalkeeper makes a lot of sense to go for. 5.4 million, which is not such a bad price when you look at some of the other prices of some of the other Man City defenders as well, and you just get that nailed on player. He's made a couple of saves recently as well. Man City's still putting up the best defensive numbers in the Premier League, even if they're not necessarily keeping a clean sheet every week, and we do of course have 2 double game weeks in the remainder of the season. So I'm definitely really feeling that, you know, certainly in the double game week in 34, we could be seeing 2 clean sheets from Man City there. Their games after that as well, Leeds, Everton, these are clean sheet opportunities, absolutely. So even if you don't like the Arsenal game necessarily, I think moving forward, it's going to be a really nice opportunity for Manchester City to pick up some clean sheet points. And I think Ederson is the way you should kind of go for that. Into defence, guys, we've got Trent Alexander-Arnold against West Ham next. It's a pretty decent fixture from a defensive point of view. West Ham's so up and down at the moment, I don't really know what to expect from them. But if I'm honest, I wouldn't expect too many clean sheets for Liverpool for the remainder of the season. We kind of know they're not the strongest defence. But what we like about Trent is that he is a very creative player. He is creating more chances more recently as well, which is very nice to see. And he could be a high upside pick who is capable of getting attacking returns. And I feel like there does need to be a focus on attacking returns when we're picking our defenders at the moment, because there just is not that many clean sheets to go round. The clean sheets that do happen are often a little bit surprising, not always coming from the places we expect them to. So yeah, I would rather go for defenders and focus on their attacking ability, and you can't really doubt Trent Alexander-Arnold's attacking ability, even if he is maybe a little bit expensive for what he does offer at the moment. But if you've got a decent amount of budget, why not? Next up, Kieran Trippier. So yeah, I still think he's going to be an essential player. 2 really nice fixtures back to back up next. Even in the big double game week in 34, Trippier would still probably be a player that you'd quite like to play at home against Southampton. Southampton, I know Arsenal would probably not believe you right now, but they are one of the weakest attacks in the whole whole league. So a home game against Southampton for a decent Newcastle defence. You know, you've at least got yourself a chance of a clean sheet. But again, we really do like Trippier's attacking ability, his kind of creativity in that team, which is very nice. Same thing with our next defender, Pervis Estupiñán, against Nottingham Forest, playing against one of the weakest attacks in the league. But once again, we are looking for a player with attacking potential, and Pervis Estupiñán definitely offers that in this Brighton team. He is the most attacking of their defenders by kind of a long stretch, always looking to get in on goal, take a couple of shots on, create for his teammates as well, which is going to give some good opportunities. And of course, with Brighton, they do have so many double game weeks. What I want personally is the best Brighton players, and I feel like Pervis Estupiñán is in that category of best ultimate Brighton players to go for in your team. So I would be going for him straight away. Looking forward to these, not only the double game weeks, but also the single game weeks that look quite good for him as well. I think it's going to be a really, really nice pick for the remainder of the season. In midfield, we have got Mo Salah first of all. So yeah, West Ham up next. Then we've got a double game week, which includes Tottenham Hotspur. Guys, I mean, if you've watched Spurs recently, you'll know that we do want to be targeting this game a little bit, don't we? So yeah, Salah could be a really good pick. I know most people are going to be captaining captaining Erling Haaland in game week 34, but Salah is maybe a slight outside kind of punt as a captain for game week 34. The one thing I would say is that Salah has looked a little bit isolated, a little bit wide in some recent games. So it's difficult to say for sure if he's going to be the perfect pick every single game week, and he's maybe a little bit expensive. But for the double game weeks that you have, certainly in the medium term, I feel like he's definitely a player you could go for if you want to remove him later on in the season. If it doesn't go so well, that's absolutely fine. But there's definitely a very high upside here. We know he's, the primary goal threat for Liverpool historically this season. So I think that could be a really good one to go for. And he's nailed on as well, which really does help when you're going for Liverpool attackers at the moment. There is this constant looming fear of rotation or early substitutions, and you do get minutes out of Salah. That has to be said. And next up, Fernandez, who I think is probably one of the more controversial players in this particular team. But I've been really impressed by Fernandez recently. I think he played well in the FA Cup as well. So I feel like there is some good signs to come from Fernandez. Like I saw him in the game against Nottingham Forest the other week, or last week, whenever it was. He looks amazing. He was so unlucky not to get a mega haul. He could have been the highest scoring player of the whole game week, had things gone slightly differently. So kind of unlucky there. But yeah, in general, I like Fernandez when he's moving back into a slightly more advanced position, on penalties as well, on free kicks, on set pieces, playing some really nice fixtures. I think he's just a good player to go for. We've got this Spurs game next, who are just looking so bad at the moment. I just feel like I want to go in on some Manchester United players. So Fernandez would be one of them. The second one would, of course, be Marcus Rashford, who is back to fitness now. And when Marcus Rashford is fit and available, he's definitely a player we want to be going for. No arguments there, really, I don't think. Yeah, so get back in on Rashford now that he is back to full fitness. I do think he is a player we need to be bringing back in pretty much immediately. We've got a double game week now. We've got a double game week later as well in game week 37 for Manchester United. So these Manchester United players are going to be very useful for you over the next sort of 5-6 game weeks. Next up, we have got Calderon Mitoma. So yeah, he is against, basically he's got Nottingham Forest next. So this is a really good opportunity for our Brighton players. And we've got these double game weeks. And again, we want to get the best Brighton players. And right now, I feel like Calderon Mitoma is one of those players. He has that magic, he has that spark, and he's got all of these amazing fixtures. He's going to be pretty much nailed on in this Brighton team. We're going to be playing lots and lots of minutes. He's super cheap still at 5.6 million, so you're still getting an absolute bargain for him. I don't think there's going to be too many people disagreeing that Calderon Mitoma has to be considered for our wildcard team, for our ideal team. And I have to say, guys, I'm a little bit worried about McAllister at the moment, so I wouldn't be going for McAllister at the moment. As a McAllister owner, I'm even considering making the sideways switch to Calderon Mitoma just because I do want to have the perfect Brighton setup for the remainder. We've got so many Brighton games. I want to have the best possible Brighton player. And McAllister, unfortunately, it does look like he might be playing a little bit deeper in some of these games. I don't know for sure about that, but even if he is playing in a slightly more advanced positioning, I'm really worried about his finishing. He gets chances, but he just can't seem to finish off those chances. He's just not as clinical as some of these other guys. So I feel like he's just not the perfect player to own anymore. And like I say, I want the perfect Brighton setup. And the perfect Brighton setup for me definitely includes one man, and that is Solly March, who I do consider to be the #1 Brighton player to own. Nothing's changed there, guys. I will be sticking to my guns on this one. Solly March is just incredible. He just looks so good every single game. He has that ability. He has so much off the ball. He is always the kind of guy in the real danger areas, like constantly in games for Brighton. It's not like Mitoma, where Mitoma kind of pops up in 1 or 2 magic moments per game. March is constantly there, constantly. And that's kind of what you want when we're playing all of these fixtures. It's a numbers game, and we've got a huge amount of fixtures, which means even higher amount of chances, which means even more goals, even more assists. He has everything, so definitely in my team. Moving up front, guys, we've got Erling Haaland, who is just, essential because he is an absolute machine. We've seen him do so well in pretty much every single game recently. He's back to boring Haaland captain every game week, pretty much time at the moment, guys, because he's just been so good. Playing Arsenal at home, Arsenal have been pretty tragic defensively recently, so I would not be surprised to see Haaland score a couple of goals against Arsenal, unfortunately, but hey, that's the way things go. We've got to be realistic with these things, and he's just a great pick. He's a great captain, and he's the best player in FPL, so got to have him in the team. And I'm also going to put Ollie Watkins in this team, so I don't think it's quite time to give up on Ollie Watkins. I know he's had 1 blank in Game Week 32, but I still do consider him to be one of the best FPL assets in the entire game. He's been playing so well, and he's playing against Fulham at home. Fulham, a team who have been struggling defensively a little bit recently, so I do definitely back Ollie Watkins to come good again and start going back into the big points, the consistency, the amazing kind of results that we've had from Watkins recently. I expect that to continue against Fulham. Not sure about the Manchester United fixture after that. Could be an opportunity to bench Watkins there. And then after that, we've got Wolves, where you would definitely consider Watkins. Once again, Spurs after that. So there are definitely some good fixtures in and around this Man United away fixture, because to be fair, Man United have been keeping things fairly defensively tight despite their kind of defensive issues, if you exclude the European games, that is. I'm talking domestic only. They've been keeping clean sheets in England. They have. Like, that is a fact. On the bench, guys, I've gone for Iverson as the goalkeeper, just like nice and cheap. We've not got a bench boost, or most of us don't have a bench boost at this point of the season, so you may as well go for the cheapest possible goalkeeper. You're going to play Edison every game anyway. We've got Botman, so doubling up on the Newcastle defence there, just because we've got that double game week later on for Newcastle. It might be nice to have a second Newcastle player, and then think about what kind of third Newcastle player that you want later on in the season. You're going to have a few game weeks to think about that. That could be Isak, that could be maybe Almiron, that could be Willock. I'm not sure exactly right now, but we can have a think about that. But for now, go for the 2 Newcastle players, and then we'll add 1 more later on in the season. Got Luke Shaw here. Like I say, Man United are doing well defensively right now, whether you like it or not. In England, they're keeping clean sheets, and Shaw kind of been unlucky to be missing all of these clean sheet points because of his injuries, but he's back now, and also playing in centre-back, which Shaw has been doing, like in the FA Cup game, for example. We've seen in the past, when Luke Shaw plays at centre-back, he's an absolute bonus points machine. So if Manchester United are drawing 0-0 or winning 1-0 or even winning 2-0 and Shaw has 0 goal involvements, he's probably still going to get all 3 bonus points, because he's just been an absolute machine in terms of kind of generating bonus points. So yeah, I still think Luke Shaw, despite playing centre-back, is, for some people might even say, even better than Luke Shaw at left-back. But who's to say that one, guys? I don't know. And finally, we have got Sam Greenwood there, just 4 million, super cheap forward, because we have switched to the 3-5-2 formation, which I do definitely think is the way I want to go moving forward, because there's just so many good midfield options at the moment with the likes of Manchester United and Brighton players, and obviously you want a sprinkle of kind of Liverpool in there as well. So I definitely feel like the 3-5-2 formation is perhaps the way forward, and therefore I feel like we can just go super cheap with our third forward option, which allows us to really maximize how much we're spending on the rest of our team to get the correct double game week players coming in, which is really good. So this team, guys, it does have 10 double game week players for game week 34, and then we'll have Trippier there as our kind of 11th man, I guess, who plays Southampton at home, which is really nice. Moving into game week 36, we've got another double game week. We've got 5 double game week players there as well. We can add 1 more Newcastle player to get to the full 6, the full possible 6 double game week players for game week 36. And then in game week 37, we've got we've obviously got the triple Brighton, we've got the triple Manchester United, and we've got double Manchester City currently, which takes us to 8. We do also have Chelsea doubling there, we could maybe add a Chelsea player. We could maybe add another Manchester City player. That's going to be kind of up to you. But yeah, I definitely do have some alternatives to suggest for you guys, kind of players that you could consider playing. But first of all, I just want to throw the captain's armband on Erling Haaland, first of all, and we'll put the vice captain on Ollie Watkins. I don't know. I just feel like Erling Haaland, you just captain him against pretty much everyone at this point, unless you want to go differential, which is totally fine. And Watkins against Fulham, I'm expecting him to be back to his best, so I'm looking forward to that one as well. And next up, guys, we do want to suggest some alternatives. So let's throw them on screen first of all. So Trent Alexander-Arnold, I do think is a player you could potentially look to downgrade, particularly if you want to upgrade certain other areas. I know some people think that Trent is essential, but I do definitely appreciate that is a lot of money to be spending on a player who is going to struggle to keep clean sheets a little bit. So you could go for Van Dijk if you just want to go slightly cheaper, cover the clean sheets, and maybe pray for like a bullet header from Van Dijk. We've certainly seen that in the past. You'd have to get lucky in order to get that kind of FPL return, but we know there's a very high ceiling there. John Stones, maybe similar situation, but again, we could go for a third Man City player maybe, because you get an extra double game week if you go for another Man City player. I think Stones would be the Man City defender to go for. If I'm not going for Edison, if I have to get a defender, an actual defender from Man City, John Stones would probably be the answer, with Nathan Ake carrying that injury at the moment, so maybe that's the way I would go there. Fernandez, I think, is replaceable in this team. You could go for De Bruyne if you really want to. That one's not really for me, but I know some of you guys do like the look of going for a De Bruyne instead. Grealish is definitely an option, though, so if you do want to downgrade Fernandez, free up a little bit of cash, downgrading Fernandez to Grealish in this team, I think is definitely something that could work out for you. But like I say, I do like this Spurs game, and what we have with Fernandez is 1 penalties but 2 nailedness. And Grealish, I know he's been very good, but you do get the feeling that he could be rotated at any point, particularly in those double game weeks. It is going to be a little bit difficult, but Grealish is still 100% definitely an option for you guys. I do think he's still a really, really good pick, but I just, in this particular team, I've gone for Fernandez instead of him, but I definitely think you could do the switch there if that's something you wanted to do. And Ollie Watkins, although I do have super high faith in him, I know there are definitely some other really interesting forward options to go for. So if you fancy Diogo Jota, he's in really good form at the moment. If you fancy going for him, absolutely fine. Isak as well, if you're looking for that double game week, get ahead of the double game week in 36 for Newcastle. You want to get your Isak nice and early. That is absolutely fine as well. And to be fair, guys, if you wanted to switch the formation to a 3-4-3 type deal, you could actually have Haaland, Watkins, and, you know, say Jota or Isak, and then kind of drop Fernandez out of your team completely. That definitely would work as well, but it does give you kind of 1 less double game week player for 37, which is something that I'm definitely thinking about when we're kind of moving forward. So yeah, that's basically the team, guys. I think this is a really, really nice team. I want to get my team to as close to this as possible. If I'm on a wild card, this is the exact team I would be making, maybe with a couple of interesting spicy differentials in there as well, but that's going to be kind of up to you. But in general, guys, this is the team. This is the team for the remainder of the season. I think it's really, really good. I'm not really going to suggest too many transfers for you. All I would say is that if you did go for this team, we would be looking to get that third Newcastle man for the game week 36, and we would also maybe consider getting an additional Man City player for game week 37 as well. But that would be pretty much it, guys. So yeah, there you go. There's the team. Let me know what you think about that. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this one, please do leave a like. Do subscribe if you're new around here as well. I'm going to try and squeeze in as much Game Week 33 content as possible over the next couple of days, because I do appreciate we haven't got very long. But yeah, make sure you got those notifications on so you are updated. But aside from that, guys, I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, for a tier list video. That'll be the next one. Then we'll do buy, sell, keep, avoid in tomorrow afternoon as well. But till then, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye-bye.